What's going on, guys? I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. You're a returning subscriber as always, guys. Welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Guys, as you very well know, we've been keeping up with the Tyre Nichols case, and today is the second day that Emmitt Martin III has taken the stand and given his testimony of how these officers, all five of them, went and unjustly beat and eventually killed Tyre Nichols. And you know, the trial's going on right now. But I don't think you guys understand. I mean, I know you guys do understand, but I think a lot of you guys that are new to me don't understand how damning his testimony is against these other three police officers, Tre'Davious Bean, Demetrius Haley, and Justin Smith. How damning it is to them on the stand fighting for their lives in a losing battle in a federal case. This is what happened today, and I want to talk about a couple of things that he said. Take a look at this, guys.
We are fearful about what happened the night Tyre Nichols was beaten by police, and the testimony is coming from a former officer who was on the scene that night. Former Scorpion Unit member Emmitt Martin was the first officer to see Tyre Nichols in January of 2023.
Today, he took the witness stand in the federal trial of Tre'Davious Bean, Demetrius Haley, and Justin Smith. Our WREG's April Thompson is live at federal court. And April, plenty of people have been waiting to hear what Martin has to say about what happened that night.
They have, especially since now that he is testifying against the other three officers. And one thing that we continue to hear Martin say in his testimony, we lied and exaggerated to justify what we did.
Emmitt Martin, a former member of the Memphis Police Department Scorpion Unit, describing the deadly encounter that led to the unit's demise and Tyre Nichols' death. Martin testifying for the prosecution in the federal trial of Tre'Davious Bean, Demetrius Haley, and Justin Smith, laying out how he was the first to see Nichols speed up to make it through a red light and gave chase. Martin admitting he didn't know how fast Nichols was going, but that a chase for a traffic violation was against MPD policy. It would be the first of several policy violations Martin testified he and other officers committed that night, describing how he, Demetrius Haley, and Officer Preston Hemphill surrounded Nichols' car, yelling, "Get the expletive out of the car," and "Get on the ground. I'm going to tase your expletive." Martin said Nichols was never resisting and there was no reason to tase him, which Hemphill did. Martin says by the time they caught up with Nichols, who managed to run away, Tre'Davious Bean and Justin Smith had him on the ground, hitting him with a closed fist. He said Desmond Mills took out his baton and started hitting Nichols 3 times on the arm. And that was against policy since Nichols was not a threat. Martin admitted he should have stepped in, but instead he said, "I punched him in the face 5 times with a closed fist." When asked why he did it, Martin said, "I was mad. I was already on edge prior to even getting there. We tried to get him in custody and it wasn't working. He ran and that's what happened." Martin said Haley delivered a vicious kick between Nichols' torso and head. Martin said he also added to the kicks, saying Nichols' body jerked. He admitted kicking is not a trained police technique. One thing Martin maintained, out of all the officers on the scene, no one told the other to stop or pull back. By the time their Lieutenant Dwayne Smith showed up, he says no one mentioned the punches and kicks they had delivered to Nichols, saying if they did, they would have been charged. Instead, they told him Nichols was high, something they didn't have evidence of, and that he was driving into oncoming traffic and got out of his car swinging. Martin saying they had to justify his actions to justify theirs. Martin also testified to a code that was a general understanding. I'm not going to tell on them, and I know they're not going to tell on me. Not going to put them in a situation where they get in trouble. It was an understanding. Basically, we did what we needed to do. I wasn't going to tell on them, and they weren't going to tell on me.
And Martin's saying a lot here in court today. Bear with me, if you will. Martin also testified he gestured for Mills to take off his body camera because he didn't want it to catch what they were saying after the beating, saying it was common practice to remove the camera, leave it running on the car. He'd seen other people do it, so he did the same thing. He also said the assault report the department wrote up for him, since Nichols was trying to take Martin's gun, what he said happened, was also full of untruths, as well as Martin's own response to resistance report, even down to the lack of information they gave dispatch and EMTs and first responders about Tyre Nichols' injuries. They never told anyone what they did. Right now, Martin is still on the stand. He is being questioned by the defense attorneys now. They're bringing out how Martin is getting a substantial assistance in his own case for his testimony here, and how he never mentioned Tyre's first question to officers that night they pulled him out of the car, saying Nichols did tell them, "Why y'all always expletive with me?" Martin says he didn't mention it because no one ever asked. Reporting live for News Channel 3, I'm April Thompson.
Eye-opening testimony. Be interesting to see if there are any new developments under cross-examination. April, thanks.
Hey guys, this case been on my mind heavy since the news broke that he was on the stand last night. Now, I'm not down there now, like you guys know, but I noticed with the coverage of the stories, you have to do at least 2 videos a day. One at the 5 o'clock mark when they put up the information about the first half of the trial, and then later on at night, like I did last night, I got to put out another video about the second half of trial. So there'll be another video after this because he's currently getting well, it's over now, but he was getting cross-examined, and that news will come out later on tonight, so you can expect another update on this situation. But man, this is just crazy to me how it just stayed on my mind all day, how his testimony was a game changer. It was. He's an eyewitness. He was there, part of the atrocity that occurred to Tyre Nichols. He was a part of it, a big part of it. And now here he is on the witness stand telling what his role was and the role of the rest of them. Then giving little intricacies about the Scorpion team. What did we learn since last night when he took the stand? He was upset because he was on desk duty from a car accident in November. He was mad because he didn't have nobody to beat up or arrest, basically. Somebody to throw up in cuffs. Him and Demetrius Haley was called the Smash Brothers. Why? Because they was the most aggressive out of the group. So they had a reputation for showing off a certain way. Said his nickname was Full Can because at one time he used a full can of pepper spray on one person to get him in cuffs and apprehend him. That is disgraceful. Here's a man 6'4", 6'5", 248, between 248 and 260, and he's doing this type of stuff in the street. It's appalling that this guy supposed to represent the law and order, and all he did was create chaos and horror in the street to a lot of people that didn't deserve it. Now, some of them might have, but I mean, come on. For you to pull a dude out of the car, make fictitious lies, you and the rest of your boys, and then do that, even though he's taking a stand and saying all this stuff, still don't make it right. Still don't make it no better to me. It don't. These was bullies in badges. I'm going to tell you another thing, too. If Tyre was a white dude, I wonder if they'd have beat him like that. If he was a regular Joe Blow white dude, regardless of his age, if they would have took him out the car and acted like that with him, I think the answer is no. And that's just me. These dudes were trained to beat up black folk. For real. They might have been trained to look for a specific type of person, but the people they was coming across, they had no leash on them. They could do whatever they want. They had a code. Oh, I won't tell on you, you won't tell on me. And you're seeing it in what they did to Tyre Nichols. Went and told a bald-faced lie to his parents. Your son was high. We had to fuck him up. We were scared for our life. He jumped out the car, and it was on from there. When the only people that was on was y'all. Y'all was on before you pulled him out the car. You was on when you seen his car, Emmitt. And the rest of these dudes just jumped into it. Think about it. Could you imagine how, like I do all of these stories about people, groups of people, namely a lot of times teens, that run around and target unsuspecting, innocent people. And I talk against that. Now imagine grown men with badges doing the same thing. You get pulled over by a police officer, you don't know what to expect. But if you get pulled over by these dudes, God be with you. That's a scary scenario that he went through. And he got out the car and said, all right. He said, all right, like what, 20-something times between the first stop and the second one? They kicked him hard in the torso. You seen that and didn't do anything. You were so mad, you wanted to take your problems out and the rest of them, bringing problems to work and take them out on an unsuspecting citizen. Lie after lie after lie you told. Now you sitting up there telling the truth, talking about you have a guilty conscience when you should have been conscious of what you was doing to him from the beginning. I feel nothing for none of these dudes. If they take all of them and take them outside to a wood chipper, it makes no difference to me. Because you allowed the devil to get into you and possess you so deeply that you took it out on somebody that mattered to a lot of people. And then the story made national headlines, international headlines. I got people in other countries asking me, what's up with the Tyre Nichols update? Think about that. Just the actions of these 5 individuals created a shitstorm that people will not heal from. Families flying in from California and other places to show support for Mr. Rodney and Miss Rayvon Wells. A nation of people rallying behind them against you. You're supposed to be law and order. Disgraceful. You punch people as hard as you can and then cover it up behind paperwork. If that ain't some devil shit, I don't know what is. And you deserve all the hellfire you get, both on this planet and after, if that exists. But you know what I'm saying? I'm not religious, but you know what I'm saying. They picked this man out of nothing, made a fictitious story about how he was a criminal, tried to shit on his character that his mother is still trying to fight to protect. You can expect an update later on tonight with the cross-examination because I want to see what they say to this guy. But I mean, all in all, man, it's just the code. They had the code. It's the code of the streets and then it's the code of the police. Like I said, man, if this dude was a white dude, I don't think that would have happened to him like that. Because there are a lot of people out here that hate their own kind. And a lot of people out here that are conditioned to look at their own kind with vitriol and hate. Especially when they're doing a job of catching people that look like them. I'm just saying. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.